And here we are, the blonde exclaims, hands hooking onto a bush and shoving it aside for me. A kukui lake. The soft glow from the water illuminates the area, a mixture of blue and green brushing along the trees surrounding the pond. It was breathtaking, to say the least. Even though small bodies of water like these were common in this realm, it doesn't take away from the alluring sight ahead. Go back and stand guard at the fallen tree. That should be a good distance. I command, lightly once as I snap at my mesmerizing stay away, passing by the blonde and stepping out into the open grass a few feet away from the pond. For a second, they don't move, and give a slight tilt over my shoulder. I raise the brow, earning quick apologies before the three disappeared off further back into the woods. And now that I was alone, I let a sigh escape my lips. Finally, walking along the pond to the other side, the grass barely makes any noise as my shoes step off, the sound of the wood like filling in the silence before I set my stuff down. Bending down, I untie my shoes, kicking them off to the side and setting my feet on the soft grass before happily removing my clothes and throwing them off as well. I'll just get that later. It doesn't matter. The water rippled outwards, and I moved a step in 1 foot, using the rocks leading off the side as some sort of staircase to get in safely. The glow from the pond seemed to dance from its surface of the water, each movement from me causing a quiet splash to fill the air. And once I deemed it good temperature, I stepped down a stair, moving further into the water before finally drop to the rest of my body with a loud splash. My head ducks beneath the surface, water brushing through and soaking my hair before I could come back up for air, breathing in the forest aroma. And since I'm so close, I reached over and grabbed the soap from my hair, pouring it into my hand and working it as I walked across the lake where a large assortment of rocks stood tall. A light trickle of water mixtures with the splashes of my movement, little waterfalls peeking through the ridges of the rocks and catching my eye. As I turn, letting the running water fall over my head while I ran my hands through my hair to remove any soap and whatever left behind from the previous day's journey. Soon diving beneath the surface to get the rest out and swim back to grab some more soap for my body. Anyways, with them, the boys. Standing idly near the fallen tree, the three wait in silence. Form starting to slouch from how long they had been likely stuck there. Right when they started to chat away, the call for dinner sounds off in the distance, alerting the three that they would most likely be missing their meal if the noblewoman they were sent to guard didn't hurry. With a sigh, Sarah and Danky glanced towards each other, eyes locking on where a slight conversation endured. With a quick nod, the two turned to their comrade, the one who was placed highest on the recommendation on the battlefield and could hold his own against anyone or anything. "Hey, Kirishima." Danky slid in, hooking an arm over his friend's shoulder. "We're going to head back and grab some dinner before it's all out," he explained smoothly for the redhead, who immediately snapped his attention towards his friend's direction. "What? You can't. She hasn't finished her." "We'll save you a seat," the blonde cuts in. "But why me?" the redhead questions, earning a scoff from the both of them. "You stay because you need help Lady in over the tree again, remember?" Sarah adds. With furrowed brows, Kirishima watches as the two back off, Sarah winking towards the redhead before helping Dinky over the tree and slinging right over after. "You've got this. We believe in you," the two voices called from the other side, soon followed by the sound of footsteps as they trotted off, leaving Kirishima alone and causing him to groan by leaving their duties as guards. Time skip. Nothing had happened. Absolutely nothing. Kirishima had been sitting in complete boredom for not even a few minutes when the sounds of footsteps captured his attention. At first, he assumed it was the lady coming to return back to camp, but there seemed to be more than one coming his way, from the opposite direction no less. Plus, the voices that arrived with the footsteps confirmed his suspicion further. "You're sure it's this way?" "Positive," a voice answers, soon followed by curses as they passed the fallen tree and went through the thorn bushes. With a grunt, One figure emerges from the shadows, and Kirishima backed off to the side, trying to see how many there were before he can confront them on what they were doing. After a moment, it seems 2 of them made it through. "I can see the glow," one states, pointing off in the direction of the pond. Following the 2 individual soldiers wasn't so hard when they ducked behind some bushes overlooking the pond Lady Yin is currently bathing in. Kirishima had a good sense on who they were trying to peek on. That's when he fully stands up, grabbing the back of their collars of the men before yanking them back up. A coarse shouts rung from across the pond, making me jump from the sudden noise and sharp snap of my head in the direction from where it came from. What the? A figure falls out of the bush, my body immediately ducking beneath the surface of the water to cover anything I, would prefer not to see. Sorry. A familiar voice calls out as a red-headed guard also jumps out from the bush, another guy in some sort of headlock underneath his arm as he grabs the ankle of the other one, I'd assume to be unconscious. He drags them both back into the forest, and I assume he had gone to deal with the threat along with the other guard, so I just grabbed my towel and, reemerges suddenly out of the bush behind my turned back. "Are you okay? I'm so sorry," he questioned, is immediately cut off with his own snort, my hands pressing the towel against myself as a form to cover as I turned to look at him. His back is completely turned to me, arm also lifted to cover his eyes as he continued to apologize profusely. "It's fine, just..." I move to set my towel down again as he turns. "Just don't turn around," I commanded, and he immediately snaps his body back to the way it had been before. "Sorry, it's a bit of a habit." "Well, forget your habit until I'm done bathing," I argue back, and our voices fall into silence, the sound of me walking through the water filling in for the absent sound. The small waterfall runs over my back as I sit, looking up to stare at the soldier, all the way across the pond. He had been frozen there for a few minutes now. "What happened?" I sighed, rubbing some water from my eye. "Some soldiers came," he answers as vaguely as possible. "Don't worry, I stopped them before they could see anything," he reassures, quickly, and I nod. I guess I had an idea on what they were planning on doing, but how stupid do you have to be when I actively have 3 guards on duty? "So I take it my other 2 guards are dealing with them as we speak?" I questioned, but the crimson soldier didn't answer. Instead, he paused. "Well..." His voice trails off in a deadpan. "Where are my other guards?" I demanded with a grumble, and he chuckles nervously. "They kind of needed to go back." He starts, and I inwardly facepalm. If those 2 aren't here, then he was fighting 2 of the other soldiers by himself? The air turns quiet yet again, and the sound of the crickets singing through it while I run my hands back and squeeze some water from my hair. "So, it's just you here?" I stated. "Yes, my lady," he answers, voice dimmed as if he was a child being scolded. I know it's stupid to ask, but could you not get too mad at them? He wonders, causing me to blink in surprise. "Why not?" "They're my friends. I just don't want anything bad to happen to them, even though they definitely deserve it." The last part is quiet, grumbling to himself, really. He was salty. I have to suppress a small snicker jumping through my chest, hand lifting from the water to cover my mouth. And I'm laughing. I don't know why he was so funny. Maybe because I've never heard anyone speak with such an attitude towards their friends or comrades. But with another nod, some water falls over my face. "All right, you have my word. Nothing will happen to your friends once I'm done." "No, please get mad at them. Just not too mad, you know?" He quickly interjects, making me roll my eyes as I walk back to where I had thrown my towel earlier. "Fine, I'll have them clean mine and your horses' asses and braid their tails." I mocked as I grabbed the clothes and started drying myself off. And after hearing my punishment, the soldier starts to laugh, my eyes sending a glance his way before a smile falls into my face. What's so funny?" I wondered out loud, turning away to wring out the water from my hair any further. Nothing. I just didn't expect I'd hear a noblewoman swear. He snorts, and I throw my nightgown over myself, face scrunching to contain my own laughter. Asshole, I commented just loud enough for him to hear it, and after a short pause, we were both completely lost it, giggling like children at a bad word. I just can't.